Okay, so when 15 million developers woke up to the news that their Copilot deal had fundamentally changed, pretty much all of them started asking the exact same question. What are the alternatives? Well, let's go through the main alternatives honestly. Not as advertisements, not as quick dismissals, just clear-eyed comparisons of what each one actually offers and who it is actually right for.
Get this. Cursor reported a massive 40% spike in new signups in the first week of June alone. 40% in 1 week. That is definitely not organic growth. That is literally developers loudly voting with their feet.
Okay, let's dive into this and look at Cursor first. It gives you a free tier with Pro at $20 a month and Business at $40 per user. Under the hood, it's actually a VS Code fork, which means your setup imports with a single click, it looks exactly like VS Code, and it runs all your extensions. But its secret weapon is Composer. It allows multi-file editing with full code-based context. You describe a change, and Cursor implements it across all relevant files simultaneously, showing diffs before applying them. Why did it win the post-June 1st migration? Simple, flat rate pricing. You pay your $20, no credit counter, no usage anxiety. Right. Then we have Claude Code. It's included with their paid plans, starting at $20, but unlike Cursor, it's a terminal-native AI agent, not an IDE plugin. You run it right from your terminal, describe what you want in natural language, and it reads your codebase, makes the changes, runs the tests, creates commits, and even opens pull requests.
And the market clearly loved it. Claude Code reached $2.5 billion in annualized revenue by early 2026. Think about the sheer scale of that. It crossed $1 billion within 6 months of its general availability launch. These are absolutely not vanity metrics. They represent real engineers and companies who tried it, saw the value, and kept paying for it.
Its real strength, verified by independent benchmarks by the way, is raw coding intelligence. Claude Opus 4.7 scores 70% on SWE-bench. Now, SWE-bench isn't just some basic test. It's the real-world gauntlet that measures an AI's ability to fix actual, seriously difficult software bugs submitted by engineers to GitHub. 70% of genuinely difficult real-world engineering problems solved completely autonomously.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is Windsurf, which completely rebranded to Devin Desktop on the exact day Copilot reset its pricing. They offer a genuinely generous free tier and Pro at $20 a month. The rebranded Devin Desktop supports the Open Agent Client protocol. That means you aren't locked into a single AI provider. Codex, Claude Agent, and others can run right inside it. Plus, the free tier gives unlimited tab completions without even requiring a credit card. It's genuinely usable for real work. On the other end of the spectrum, you have Cline Continue.dev. They cost absolutely $0 up front, but you bring your own API keys. They are open-source extensions giving you agentic AI capabilities, but you pay Anthropic, OpenAI, or Google directly for the tokens. At Claude Sonnet rates, a typical developer day might cost $2 to $5, making it roughly $44 to $110 a month.
OpenAI's Codex takes a completely different approach entirely. Included with ChatGPT plans starting at $20, it runs remotely in a sandboxed cloud container rather than locally on your machine. You submit a coding task, and Codex works on it autonomously in its own isolated environment, then shows you the result. If you're highly security conscious, this remote isolation is a massive feature because it doesn't touch your local codebase by default. But for developers who want an agent deeply integrated into their local environment, it can honestly feel a bit disconnected.
All right, so you have read the history. You understand the economics. You know the alternatives. Now let us be completely direct and authoritative about what you should actually do right now to survive the pricing shift. Step 1. Export your actual usage data from GitHub's billing page before making any decisions. The dashboard now shows you per model token consumption and projected costs. Understand what you are actually using before you cancel anything. Step 2. Match your plan to how you actually code. Heavy tab completer? Pro at $10 is fine. Using chat heavily with occasional agents? Pro Plus at $39. Running daily autonomous agents? Look at Max or pivot to Cursor. Step 3. Trial alternatives before committing. Cursor, Devin Desktop, and Cline are all accessible without a credit card. Run your actual workflow through them this week. Migrate based on your own 30-day trial, not Reddit posts.
So, the crucial point is, if you decide to stay on Copilot, you need to apply these 4 cost optimizations immediately.
Optimization 1. Set a spending cap. In GitHub's billing settings, put a hard cap on additional credit purchases. Even if you set it fairly high, having a cap means no surprise bill. Optimization 2. Choose your model deliberately. GPT-5.5 on full context is incredibly expensive. Claude Sonnet or GPT-5.5 in efficient mode will give you 80% of the quality at 40 to 60% of the cost for moderate work. Optimization 3. Limit your context deliberately. If Copilot is indexing your entire repository when you only need it to understand a single module, or worse, if you're accidentally letting it read through gigabytes of your Node modules folder, you are burning credits on entirely unnecessary context. Configure your workspace files to keep irrelevant code out. Finally, Optimization 4. Batch your agent sessions. Multiple short sessions cost way more than one well-specified longer session because each startup involves context loading overhead. Step 5. If you manage a team, do this immediately. Pull your organization's Copilot usage data from the admin console and look at per-developer consumption. The absolute worst outcome is paying for max seats organization-wide when most of your developers are simply completion users who are completely comfortable on Pro. Right-size your plan per developer based on actual usage, not assumed usage.
But let's zoom out. What happened on June 1st, 2026 is not only a GitHub Copilot story. It is the moment that the entire AI industry's promotional pricing era definitively ended.
Let's move to this timeline and see how this builds. For 4 years, every major AI company competed on the exact same premise: pay a flat monthly fee, use as much AI as you want. It was the best deal in the history of software. It was also a deal that the economics of AI compute were increasingly unable to support. The companies absorbing those costs were making a massive bet that user growth and model efficiency would eventually balance the unit economics. That bet ran for 4 years. In 2026, it ran out.
Think about what it actually costs to run a single agentic session. A developer points Copilot at a 100,000-line code base. Say it needs 50,000 tokens to load the relevant context. At Claude Opus rates, that is 75 cents of input cost before the model has said a single word. Now multiply that by 3 million agentic sessions per day across GitHub's user base. That is over $2 million per day in compute costs from input tokens alone.
So yeah, the era of unlimited AI at a flat rate is over. What replaces it is a more deliberate, intentional relationship with AI tools. The developers who will thrive in this environment aren't fighting the change. They are adapting. They understand what each AI tool does best. They use them for their specific strengths. They measure the cost against the actual value created, and they keep adapting as the landscape shifts. Let's come back to Arjun in Bangalore. 6 weeks after that Monday morning that started this explainer, he did not cancel Copilot. He made a change. He upgraded from Pro to Pro Plus for the months when he runs more agentic work. He uses Cline with his own API key for his heaviest sessions, paying Anthropic directly for tokens at a rate that comes out cheaper than Copilot Max. His bill is higher, yes, but the time saving is real. The code is better. The net cost, when accounting for what his time is worth, is not even close. It's incredibly important to acknowledge the reality for developers in India, Indonesia, Brazil, and other markets where salaries create a very different cost calculus. The absolute price increase is real. Going from $10 to $39 is a massive daily cost difference at junior developer salary levels. For those developers, the calculus is grounded in a very different economic reality than a developer in San Francisco, where $39 is just a rounding error. But here is a brilliant pro tip for developers who are the most cost-sensitive. Tab completions are still free on Devin Desktop's free tier. You can use that for completion assistance and pair it with a pay-as-you-go model like Cline for occasional complex tasks, consuming API tokens directly at rates you completely control. The total monthly cost? Under $3 in a reasonable usage scenario. $3 and you get access to the most powerful AI models on Earth. By early July 2026, we hit a new equilibrium. GitHub Copilot is still the most widely used AI coding tool in the world, with 15 million users. Most developers just adapted. Cursor took significant share among those who found Copilot Pro Plus too expensive. Devin Desktop absorbed developers who wanted a free tier that actually worked. And Claude Code continues to grow rapidly among professional engineers prioritizing raw quality over convenience. And this brilliantly illustrates the upside. The fierce competition means the tools just keep getting better. GitHub announced that Copilot Code Review works with more models and improved PR summaries. Cursor quickly shipped Composer 2.5 with parallel agent capabilities. Claude Code became the default for Claude Max users. OpenAI's Codex added desktop multi-agent control. The practical conclusion of everything in this explainer is simple. AI coding tools are now a real cost center in software development, Not a gimmick, not a curiosity, a real budget line that requires real management. That is actually a sign that the technology has truly arrived. Tools that get serious enough to have serious pricing are serious enough to make serious differences in your output.
Consider a pull request, created, reviewed, tested, and merged in 2 hours. The same PR without AI assistance would have taken 2 days. The time saving? 22 hours. The ROI, for any developer billing more than a few $100s a day, is absolutely overwhelming even at the new pricing. The question was never whether these tools are worth paying for. The question was always what they are actually worth. And now, for the first time, we know.
You have the information now. Make the decision that fits your actual usage, not the usage you imagine, not the usage the marketing shows, the usage you export from your billing dashboard, measure honestly, and match to a plan that makes sense for the work you actually do.
I am your host. This is the explainer. If this explainer gave you the full picture, if you understand the pricing change, the alternatives, and what to do about it, subscribe. We do exactly this every week. No padding, no filler. Just the things you need to know, explained completely so you can make the decisions that matter. We are moving from paying for tools to essentially hiring digital junior developers. Are you ready to manage them? And drop in the comments, what is your current tool stack? Staying on Copilot, migrating to Cursor, using Claude Code, something else entirely? Tell me what you are actually using. See you in the next one.